The poor woman and her bird nest of the end times. This is a prophetic foreshadow of Christ, and what occurred with Christ in his life will become a culmination of what will occur to his bride in the end times. Christ would not suffer his bride to go through anything that he himself had not already suffered. And looking to this, it's all prophetic foreshadow. Christ's ministry was 3.5 years, and we see these accounts over 3 Passovers that are counted. In John chapter 2, verse 13, it says, "And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem." In John chapter 6, it says, "And the Passover, a feast of the Jews, was nigh." And then John chapter 11, verse 55, it says, "And the Jews' Passover was nigh at hand, and many went out of the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves." So we know, based upon these scriptures, that during the time of Christ's ministry, this is about 3.5 years, and there was a period of Christ where he was made poor without house. And he hungered. He had no place of his own, no home. He had left his home. He hungered. He went out into the wilderness and hungered and ate and wanted bread. This is all a prophetic foreshadow of the end. Matthew chapter 4, verse 1 through 3. "And Jesus was led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he afterward hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread." We see here that Christ went out into the wilderness where he hungered for bread for a period of time. And we see here also that Christ reveals amazing revelation about his home. Matthew chapter 8, verse 20. "And Jesus saith unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath nowhere to lay his head." Foxes have holes in the caves and the rocks of the mountains, and birds build their nests high up in the mountains, in the rocks, of the clefts of the rocks. But the Son of Man had left his home, and he had no home. Christ suffered all things, including what the bride will go through in the end times. Everyone will be called to leave everything behind. "But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let him that be in Judea flee to the mountains. And let him that is on the housetop not go down into the house, neither enter therein to take anything out of the house. And let him that is in the field not turn back again for to take up his garment." When you hear the call to come, you gather to Jerusalem for the next Exodus, the wedding feast, to prepare to go out into the wilderness, where you'll hunger for bread. But the Lord will promise to give you that bread. But the tempter will come. The tempter will come and tell you not to go back and get your possessions, or you can't leave your possessions, to give you excuses. Christ warned about this in the book of Matthew chapter 19, verse 21 through 24. "Jesus said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, Verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven." Christ was showing the way for the end times message in the prophecy of the end through his life and his ministry, and he showed the proper way to be able to go about that and what was required for the end. James chapter 2, verse 5. "Hearken, my beloved brethren, hath not God chosen the poor of this world rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that love him?" The bride will be made poor, and she will hunger for bread out in the wilderness. She'll go out there in her ministry for 3.5 years, just like Christ went for 3.5 years for his ministry. Revelation chapter 12, verse 6. "And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And this woman left all behind, her houses, her garments, her things, her possessions, and things that were sold, to give to the poor, to help them to come with her." Just like Christ had taught everybody in the early church. They sold their possessions and gave it to the poor. It's a model for the end. The preparation for the church, for the end times, to meet the bridegroom, going out into the wilderness. Everybody sell everything. Sell your house, sell your car. Get rid of it and get ready to the gathering. Because if you don't, you're going to be cut off. Revelation chapter 12, verse 14. "And the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent." And you see the woman given eagle's wings to go out. The birds of the air have nests. She's given the wings of a great eagle that she can go out to Petra and to the clefts of the rock where she can have her nest. Matthew chapter 8, verse 20. And Jesus saith unto him, the foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath nowhere to lay his head. And the woman is given the holes of the rocks of the dens and of the caves like the foxes out at Petra. The holes in the mountains and the rocks and the caves. Foxes have holes and dens. And so will the bride for the end. She is poor, she's left all behind, and the foreshadow of Christ and his ministry for the 1260 days is found in the wilderness of the poor, at the foxes' holes and the birds' nests, where the woman will lay her head. And this is the prophecy of the bird's nest.